Hello everyone, welcome back to the Mrsirrr channel, the only channel in the world playing bad parenting while my therapist's retirement plan is literally just me. Okay, this is the part where I normally make dark jokes or personal jabs at myself to showcase my current stress levels or discontent with life. But I know, and you likely know too, this video is going to get a bit dark. I'll be interjecting humor and try my best to sugarcoat some of the darker themes within this story, but fair warning on this one. With that said, Bad Parenting is a brief horror game about a man creature type thing that goes by the name Mr. Redface, a fictional character created by the parents to teach their son some valuable lessons. This game takes place in a small apartment where Ron, the game's protagonist, faces terrifying supernatural phenomena and at the same time tries to protect his family from the red-faced creature. So grab my hand and some tissues as we address our own personal issues through this horror short story. We begin standing at our front door as our mother arrives home late from work. It's little Ron's birthday today and his mom seemed to have forgotten. To cover this fact, making up some Santa Claus character named Mr. Redface who brings birthday presents to good children. Ron, being the little kid he is, eats this up until the father is standing over Ron. "You're fooling the kid again," he says. He's clearly upset that his wife is coming home late from work, but hints that he doesn't believe that work was the real reason. Then whipping his head around and angrily telling his son to go to sleep. While my parents looked at each other like they were about to have an old Western standoff, I scurried off to my bedroom before things got too hectic, accidentally stumbling into my parents' bedroom first. The first thing that caught my eye immediately was the separate twin beds. They clearly aren't and haven't been on good terms. Well, off to bed. Gotta wait for Mr. Redface to bring me my birthday present. It's the middle of the night. Total darkness. When the door creaks open, a man appears and kindly waves. Then all of a sudden, he's at the foot of my bed, gesturing with the doll in his hand. The lights flicker as he migrates over to my closet. He opens the door. Then, it's morning time. I walk over to the new box on the floor of my bedroom. Inside is a doll. I presume the doll is a gift from Mr. Redface. But within seconds of holding him, he begins talking, introducing himself as Ron, even though that's my name. Apparently, Doll Ron's master made him just for Ron, so they have the same name and appearance. There's a small mention of the doll's neck being loose, which is explained away by the master makes mistakes, and it's just a small flaw compared to the other dolls. With this, Doll Ron agrees to be our best friend. Yay! The doll mentioned having toys stored in the closet and asks us to retrieve them. But when we try, the door is jammed. Doll Ron then redirects us by saying he's hungry. Stumbling over to the kitchen, there is a note on the fridge from Mom. It reads as such: "You're reading this letter at 1 p.m., aren't you, sleepyhead? I've prepared your favorite dish in the fridge, so remember to heat it up before eating. Lately, I've noticed you've been getting more lazy about eating. You know I don't have much time at home, so please learn to take care of yourself and stop making me worry. One more thing, don't forget to take your medicine after eating, Mom." Okay, Mom. So I whip open the fridge door and heat up the leftovers while Doll Ron and myself patiently wait. Once ready, Doll Ron shows us a magic trick he could do, filling up his old bowl of food every time we ate it. Excitedly, I ask him what else he could do. Then he channels his inner demons and picks up the bottle, drinking, slamming it on the table. Drinking, slamming it on the table, drinking. This startles us, and hoping it didn't wake our dad in the other room. The doll then makes an unhinged remark that his master has taken our father away. He goes on and on about how our dad is a bad person who hits and yells at me, and that's exactly the kind of parent his master takes away to protect children. The son gets protective and defensive towards his dad, which is actually super understandable but incredibly sad. The doll shares that we can try to save our dad, but we had to take a shortcut to get him through our closet. Our closet was still jammed, so we had to use our parents instead. Doll Ron explains how the closet can act as a portal and needed to use our dad's radio to activate the portal. The radio will serve as some sort of elevator button. If we choose the right frequency, we'll find our dad. So we do as we're told and activate the radio in front of the closet. The first location seemed to be a beautiful forest, so we try again, unveiling this monstrosity. This creature made me incredibly uncomfortable. I wasn't expecting it at all and let out a big sigh of relief the moment the door shut. Let's hope something like that doesn't happen again. Third time's the charm. Arriving in a dark forest, I notice a cat sitting behind a desk, so we head over to him. The cat helps us look for our dad, searching through the logs for our father. We learn that our dad is categorized as Bad Bruce, and he also yells, hits, and slaps us. With that, the cat was able to identify where our father is located. Walking my way over to the door, 3 kids jump out and scare me. They are also looking for their parents and asked if we wanted to join them. We politely declined, communicating that we're in a hurry. One thing I will note, one of the kids has bandages covering his eyes, and another kid is hanging out inside of a grave. Yeah, not so pleasant, so put a pin in this. We continue towards the white door. Darkness. Then, our father. He only has one thing to say to us. Please stop punishing me. We try our best to get him to come home with us, but the same result. Please stop punishing me. Walking over to the side table, there's a piece of paper. On the paper, the word spell. We wake up in the closet with our mom staring at us. She asks what's wrong with us and why we're in the closet. We tell her that Mr. Redface has taken our father and are visibly upset. Mom responds saying that's a good thing and asks how our doll is doing today. We seem surprised that she knows about the doll, but goes on to explain that we haven't taken our medicine today. Doll Ron isn't the first thing we've hallucinated. Every time we hallucinate, we tell a different story, but the common factor is always that stupid doll. When we say we don't remember the previous times, she says the hurtful words, she doesn't know what's wrong with me, and sends us off to bed. Walking into our bedroom, doll Ron is floating midair. We wake up to our mom asking what happened and if we are okay. Everything fades to black. We wake up again to our mom worried about us, but this time we're in bed. She kindly says she'll take a day off from work and stay home with us. We ask her to promise, which is another sad indicator that she doesn't often stick to her word, but she promises and we drift back to sleep. Waking up in the morning and our mom isn't in sight, breaking her promise. We end up mingling towards our bedroom and stumble upon our doll badly mangled on the floor. His master was the one who inflicted the wounds. Apparently, Doll Ron's master wasn't happy with how yesterday turned out. Then drops a bomb that he's also taken our mother and he'll soon be coming for us, so we must run away. We argue that we must save our mom and dad, but the doll refutes and says we would stand no chance against his master. That's when we mention we found a piece of paper in our dad's prison and it might help us defeat Mr. Redface. Our doll shakenly says that contains a spell that will defeat Mr. Redface. Suddenly, his tune changes. We must enter the closet to find our mother. We quickly run into our parents' room and enter the closet. Arriving back in the forest, paper in hand. We see the same kids from earlier, hiding behind a car, looking towards the cracked door. Then we meander towards the door. Our doll tells us to quickly throw the spell into the room and take cover. We let go of the paper and run to hide. I run over to Dollron and the door. Nothing. It's time to return to the white light. Back home, we realize Dollron isn't okay. He explains that his master has been defeated and the magic spell is fading. Dollron is disappearing, leaving us. He instructs us that we should step outside and see our parents, so we do exactly that. At the end of the hallway stand both parents. Then... You've been having an affair, haven't you? I told you I was busy with work. Liar. You've neglected this family for another man. Aren't you ashamed to lie to your son? And what about you? Do you think you're better than me? You're just at home leeching off me all year round. What kind of father are you? No matter what I do, it's my business. I still bring money home to support my child. And if you still think I'm a whore, you're lowering yourself even below that. One more word. Fine. You and I will get a divorce. One of us will have to move out of this house. If you're still here tomorrow, I'll take my son and leave. You stay right there. Mom has left. We walk over to the kitchen and our dad is heavily drinking again. Drinking. Slamming. Drinking. Slamming. Drinking. slamming. Then appears Mr. Redface. "I won't let this happen," he says, walking over to his son's room, shifting in between our father and Mr. Redface. We follow, stopping at our doorway. Our father broke our neck. Walks over to the closet and places our body. "No, no, no, no," says Ron. "This can't be true." "I'm very sorry," says Doll Ron. "Your closet. I think you're able to open it now." We walk over to our closet and open it, shaking uncontrollably. "This is me? Why don't I know anything about these?" "You've always known," says Doll Ron, "because I am the knowing part of you. You've tried to deny and reject these things and made up stories to make yourself feel better about you and your dad. And me, I have to find a way to lead you back to reality. I've tried many times, many ways to help you accept this truth as easily as possible. And every time I fail, guess what happens? Tick-tock. Boom. All the memories disappear. You once again wake up at the starting point, which is the night your dad murdered you. How long have I been dead? 14 days. It can't have been that long. What really happened to my parents? As for your dad, he's hiding in a cheap motel room. Go home with me, Dad. What about my mom? She still sees me, doesn't she? That's right, because she's only home late at night. But if it's the daytime... Our mom wakes up in a panic, desperately searching for her son. Cutting to the police station. The cops are asking if she has any clues of her husband's whereabouts. She shakes her head no. She has no idea where he is. The cops respond, "You just dropped something, ma'am." "What is that?" says the cop. "It's a motel card," says Mom. "But I'm not sure it's mine." So there's a lot to unpack here. There's a few key hints I want to touch on, or the main key points of this story. The main ones are that his mom works a lot and his dad is a alcoholic who abuses the family. Straight off the bat, I'm pretty sure everyone has picked this up. Mr. Redface is the father, and he is nicknamed Mr. Redface because when you drink a lot of alcohol, your face flushes, it turns red. So his father would get drunk and in a fit of rage, face turned red, thus Mr. Redface. Ron, with his hallucinations, are creating these stories as an attempt to cure his relationship with his father, who physically abuses him. And the main thing I want to touch on is that Ron was murdered by his father on the first night the game began. Ron never made it past his birthday. His gift for Mr. Redface was actually his death, where the dad came into the room at night and murdered him in a drunken rage after his mom told him they were getting a divorce. What we first see of Mr. Redface is going into the closet was Ron's dad dumping his now lifeless body inside. The doll's bent neck is actually a physical manifestation of Ron's cause of death. The dad broke his neck and killed him. The next day after he's murdered, the mom finds his body inside the closet and falls to her knees sobbing. She's then seen speaking to the police, and an anonymous tip is dropped off. The tip basically tells the police that the dad is hiding in a motel as he sees his son's dead body every night, asking him to come home, which is in the last scene of the game. And now I'm going to touch on the saddest aspect of this story, in my opinion at least. Everything's sad, but this is the most sad part, is that Ron's hallucinations weren't really fake. The portals and the other worlds we see are the limbo for lost children. The other children that Ron comes across were seemingly murdered, and all of them, including Ron, can peer into the real world to find their parents. And through this lens is how the father ended up getting caught. Using these portals, the doll version of Ron, the knowing part of him, haunts his father to learn of his whereabouts and tells the police with the spell to defeat Mr. Redface. And the reason why I can probably safely say the other children were murdered as well is because the final scene shows Ron in the closet, which is his final resting place. One of the other children is in the trunk, another one on a fireplace, and the other one in the grave. This could signify buried alive, died in a fire, and kidnapped. A few other things I want to mention is the parents weren't in a happy marriage. They were sleeping in separate beds, neglecting their own child, and very clearly not working together to take care of Ron. The mom was working hard to financially support the family, while the father was a drunk who was freeloading. The story also indicates that the mother had an affair, and that's what sparks the father, taking things way too far throughout this journey. Again, this game is called Bad Parenting. Speaking more on the closet, the fact that Ron died on the first night of the story, that's the reason the closet is locked. Because the unknowing part of him doesn't know he's in there yet. When entering the parents' closet, I'm sure it's not a coincidence that we're walking into a bright white light, as this likely signifies us passing to our death. Regarding Mr. Redface and the doll's master, every indicator of these two characters is referencing the father. When the master makes a mistake with Doll Ron's neck being loose, that's because he strangled Ron. When Doll Ron mentions getting the beat out of him because his master wasn't too happy with how yesterday went, that's because his father was unhappy with his wife asking for a divorce. And that is the overall premise of this story. A very, very dark but creative way to showcase a kid getting murdered by his father. Just an overall very, very sad story. One that I found very compelling and wanted to touch on and make a video on. Let me know down in the comments what you think of this story and if you enjoy video games that cover these kinds of topics. I personally do. I think it's a creative way of showcasing something sad. But with that said, thank you for making it through this video. Don't forget to like, comment, and share, and I will see you in the next one. Thank you so much. Goodbye.